Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Aman Luthra, and in today's video I want to talk about the most recent report that the United Nations has given us regarding climate change. We're going to talk about what is in the report and what the report is telling us. So this report was released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, and basically the IPCC is an organization within the United Nations that regularly reviews the most up-to-date science behind climate change, and they provide governments with the information that they need to create climate policies. And if you want to check out their website, I will include a link down in the description. And just about every country in the world is part of the IPCC with a few exceptions, and they regularly review thousands of papers on climate change, what are the risks, and how we have to deal with them. And every 7 years or so, they release an assessment report which contains the most recent science behind climate change, how we have to adapt, and how we have to mitigate it. And in August of 2021, they released the first part of their 6th assessment report, which talks about the most recent physical science behind climate change. And this document is almost 4,000 pages long. I wonder who has the patience to read all of that. But I did have the patience to read the 41 pages which talks about the summary for policymakers, and here's what I got from it. And to be honest, nothing in the summary is really new. It's just something that we have been ignoring for a very, very long time. So even though it's not something that we want to acknowledge, it is something that we need to acknowledge. Don't forget that I release videos about climate change pretty regularly on this channel, and a new video is released every Friday. So make sure you subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any future videos about how you can help solve the climate crisis. So the first section of this report talks about the current state of the climate, and well, things aren't looking so great. So the first major takeaway is that it is unequivocal that humans have a major role when it comes to climate change. Since the second half of the 19th century, we have caused the average temperature of the Earth to go up by about 1.07 degrees Celsius. Now 1.07 degrees Celsius might seem very small, but it has caused sea level rise, it has caused more precipitation, and it has caused longer growing seasons. So just like how you feel really sick if your body goes up by about 1 or 2 degrees, the Earth reacts in the exact same way. And because of this rise in average temperature, we have seen changes that have not happened in hundreds if not thousands of years. Greenhouse gas emissions, the rate of temperature rise, the rate of sea level rise, the rate of ice melting is at an all-time high right now. And all of this is caused by human activity. We have seen more intense and more frequent heat waves. We have seen more intense and frequent hurricanes. We have seen more intense and frequent storms around the world. And we have seen more frequent and intense droughts around the world. And these disasters are only going to compound with time if we keep doing what we are doing right now. So long story short, our human activity has got to change if we're going to stop these events from happening. Now the second section of this report talks about the possible futures that might come up with climate change. So here's a graph that was provided in the report which outlines 5 possible different futures of carbon emissions ranging from very low to very high. And right now we are on track to follow the line of medium emissions. But to stop global temperatures from rising, we need to get to the low, if not very low line. And that's going to take highly aggressive action to reach. So one thing that we can learn from this graph is that without highly aggressive action, the mean temperature will exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius, if not 2 degrees Celsius. Right now we are already at 1.1 degrees Celsius, and it has already caused so much destruction throughout the world. And the last time that the average temperature on this Earth was more than 2.5 degrees Celsius higher than it was in the second half of the 19th century was more than 3 million years ago. So this is not normal, and we have to do something about it. And as the global temperature continues to go up, so will the frequency and the intensity of heat waves, storms, droughts, floods, and all these other natural disasters that are already happening right now. It's also going to alter the water cycle, and it's also going to make carbon sinks around the world less effective at restoring carbon. So we have already caused a lot of irreversible consequences in the Earth's climate, but we can still stop the worst from happening. And the last 2 sections of this report talk about how we have to adapt to and mitigate the climate crisis. And as the temperature goes up, the more widespread these consequences will be. And there is really no region in the world that is free from these consequences. And to put it simply, to stop these consequences from happening, we have to reach net zero emissions as fast as possible. Reaching net zero is what will allow the average surface temperature of the world to start going back down. And that will reduce the frequency of these events. It will reduce the intensity of these events. It will cause ocean acidification to slowly reverse. And it will help bring the environment back to what it used to be. So what do I think of this climate report? Well, to be honest, there's nothing really new, like I said earlier. This is something that we have known for decades and decades, but we've continued to ignore it. And I think the reason we ignore it is because climate change is something that does not bring you the benefits right away. It's something that brings you the benefits years and years in advance. And that does not make it a very demanding problem psychologically. And knowing that it's going to take highly aggressive action to limit temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius, I'm not so sure that's really going to happen. And the thing is, those who are in power will experience the least of these consequences. And people who live in the developing nations around the world will get the worst of them. But the good news is that there is still time to fix this, and we have to start acting on this right now. Will it happen? I'm not so sure, but at least we have to try. For one, we have to start reducing our emissions towards net zero and carbon negative as fast as possible. And the reality is that there are 100 companies around the world who are responsible for 71% of all CO2 emissions. So before we can talk about transitioning to renewables, I think the first thing that we have to do is have people in power who care about the environment. Because I think the root problem is that right now those in power just don't really care about the environment. So you can participate in a climate protest. You can write an email to your representative or your senator. Because at the end of the day, you really have nothing to lose by doing so. And there also has to be systemic action among individuals as well. Because even though our personal actions may be small compared to what the government can do, the reality is our personal actions still count. Otherwise, there would be no point in taking action. And when we spread this message and collective action is taken, that's when the differences really start to stack up. We need to make efforts to reduce consumerism, to eat less meat, to reduce our energy consumption, and so on. If you want to learn what is the best action that you can personally take to solve the climate crisis, I will include a video right up here, so go check that out. So remember, even though your action may be small, it still makes a difference, so you don't have to be part of the problem. So again, I'm not so sure these efforts will happen, but at least we have to try, because if we don't, we are headed for an apocalypse. I don't want that to happen, and I don't think you do either. So no matter who you are, there is no better time to act than right now. Do you think that there is any hope in solving the climate crisis? What action steps do you think have to be taken to solve it? Comment down below and let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any future videos I make about climate change. And just remember, nature can live without us, but we cannot live without nature. Alright. Bye everybody.